At that time, it was in my district, Southwest Birmingham, where I represent. Um, it's a lot like where Tony said he lives in Albuquerque, very underserved area, high crime rate, gun violence was at an uproar during that time, and my wife taught in that same district. So, young man, Devon passed away. I went to the funeral and I brought his program home. My wife said, Jay, I taught him, and this was like maybe 3 or 4 years after she had taught him. And she said, Jay, I taught him. He was the one young man that got in your car at my school and said he wanted to be just like you. And that hit home for me. And that's when I stood up to make an initiative, kick off an initiative, 100 Days of Nonviolence, in honor of Devontaris Randall Arrington, and to give him the honor he deserved. I'll be honest with you all, this initiative is youth-led, and I'm going to share some pictures with you. Adult guided. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
That is kind
Yes.
of where the derivative of this has really caught a conscience of the community at the time. This young man here was a young man that led the initiative. I was a councilman, but I never took the microphone. I want to make sure that the message that was given to the community was given by those that could relate to the violence and things that were going on in the community. And we utilized our grassroots efforts. When I say that, I was in the school systems of Birmingham that we got young people engaged. Young people led the initiative. Young people were outspoken about not bullying. They were outspoken about making sure I do community service. They were outspoken about make sure I go to the right places, not go to the wrong places. And I think that message at the time really set a conscience across the city of Birmingham. And if you're a mother on TV watching the news and seeing young people speak out about how they want to do right, it really transcended across our communities. I didn't expect for it to happen this way. I just used my office as city council as a vessel. But the young people actually embraced it. And when they embraced it, it grew like a wave across Birmingham. We were able to do events like the hip hop to hip hope. See if I can find a picture here. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
These young people really engaged. I related to them and tried to take mechanisms of support to them that they could understand and relate to. So we had an event called a hip hop to hip hope. Young people embraced it. They had acts. They did reenactments. They exemplified other celebrities that were from the community, other places. But at the same time, we had a real serious conversation after this. Over a couple hundred kids were at this event here, where they were in discussions with people like Ruben Studdard. They were in discussions with people like Kevin Lyles, whose wife, Erica, is from Birmingham. And Erica was a part of this, hip hop producer. They were in depth discussions with corporate citizens that were in the private sector that really talked to them about, not bullying, not getting involved in the wrong things in the community. So we were fortunate to have people engage and participate and be a part of the 100 Days of Nonviolence. When I say, I'm sharing this to you all for a reason, I'll summarize everything here shortly. But when I say there was, engagement, it was to the point where people like this lady you see here, probably y'all recognize her. That's Lucy Macbeth, who's also Congresswoman Macbeth. It was one of the 5 mothers that led the initiative when Clinton was running Hillary for president against violence. But she came to Birmingham to meet with me about her son Jordan and the situation in 100 Days of Nonviolence. And so now she's taken that. It's her effort, along with other mothers that have lost their loved ones and their sons or daughter, have spoken out loud. And it's a precedence now on a national level. But she engaged it. She supported those efforts. and is now doing on a national, federal level. There's other folks, and Devontae knows I've worked hand in hand with the King Center on this. But here in Birmingham, with the 100 Days of Nonviolence, it concluded every year on MLK Day. And you all can see that photo there of how the community, by the masses, came together on MLK Day. And I don't know how this happened. I think it was the grace of God. When I kicked this off, it always started the second week in October, and it ended up on MLK Day being 100 Day. And that's just how it panned out. And for 9 years in Birmingham, we were able to tie the movement of nonviolence in the history of our city to where young people could identify and relate to nonviolence of today. Some of that had to do with the Kingian theory of nonviolence, which is presented by Bernice King, who's a friend of mine, and her family, which is a curriculum of nonviolence. But we embraced it. Young people embraced it. And those young men you see there were part of a nonprofit these are former high school athletes. Now I think these guys have played in college, some of them now, and moved on, but they were exemplary in getting out front and making an initiative of supporting the event. Right up here is the former mayor, William Bell, who served Birmingham for many, many, many years and helped support me in that effort. That gentleman right here is Bishop Calvin Woods. His brother is Abraham Woods, who marched with King. So we had generations coming together from all walks of life to help lead this nonviolence effort. And ladies and gentlemen, this was not just who you see in this picture, African-American people. It was people from all walks of life, from the private sector and on forward. So wanted to give you all a taste of that and kind of share that with you.